Coming to you from the Hudson Media Group studio, this is Talking Politics, and I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, of course, the generational talent in today's media, and of course, I'll continue to be the weapon of mass disruption, because my little velocity, folks, now more than ever, is truly necessary in this era of journalistic deception. That's right, it's me, Fernando Uribe. Happy March to all of you, folks. And as you all know, obviously this coming weekend, we set the clocks forward an hour. And yes, while we lose an hour of sleep, we just know that spring's right around the corner. Baseball is coming soon. The NBA and NHL playoffs are quickly approaching. Folks, it's just springtime, and that's always a good thing. So, of course, let's get to politics here. There's always a lot to discuss. So let's get started. Here's what I'm thinking about right now. Folks, last Thursday, I had the displeasure of going to downtown Jersey City and standing in front of City Hall right on Grove Street. And what many called supposedly a rally was more of a gathering of maybe no more than 20 people. As you can see at the footage there provided, folks, it was rather embarrassing of a turnout. But it didn't deter a lot of the virtue signalers and, of course, all the local social justice clowns and woke fools, especially those that are running for office this year to, of course, opine on what's going on with the state of ICE and today's federal immigration battles. So, of course, Hoboken Mayor and current 32nd Legislative District Assembly candidate, Ravi Bala, and activist, along with also Assembly candidate Katie Brennan, wasted no time in standing in front of a capacity crowd of maybe less than 20 people on Grove Street to bitch and moan about the latest saga here with the Trump administration about a ICE prison being set up in Delaney Hall in downtown Newark. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, folks, why this is so strategic, well, it's only a 10-minute drive from Newark Airport. So if you're looking to deport a massive amount of criminal illegals, and dangerous illegals too, hey, it would make it a lot easier to set up one of those ICE camps in Newark rather than the current jail that exists in Elizabeth. Folks, again, with traffic and other things you can't account for or prepare for, hey, Newark might be a better location. But again, instead of applauding the fact that we're having an administration that's following, immigration law, of course, and yes, I know what you're all going to say is that Joe Biden deported more people in the last 2 years than Trump did in the first 4 years of his first term. Yeah, that's correct. And people might say that, well, there wasn't as much fanfare or spectacle when it came to all these ICE raids. That's true too. But folks, what ended up happening was, yes, as the Biden administration was deporting people, they easily came right back in. Because when you have a wide open border, what's deterring people? Well, that's not the case anymore. We've seen border crossings at an all-time low in the last 5 years. Folks, as I've said before on the show, promises made and promises kept. The Trump administration, along with border czar, like a real border czar, unlike, the queen of word salads, Kamala Harris, but Tom Homan has been very serious about making sure that we are deporting dangerous illegals and those that have an order to be detained. Now, again, why that's so difficult for someone like Ravi Bala, who went to law school supposedly, right? And he has a law degree. You would think that somewhere he would have recalled during constitutional law that the responsibility of the federal government, specifically in the legislative branch, which is both chambers of Congress, which is the House of Representatives and the Senate, it's their responsibility to ensure that we are enforcing federal immigration law. Now, of course, that's also a responsibility that the executive branch has taken on for many, many decades. The Trump administration is not alone in this, folks. If you all recall, during the 8 years of Barack Obama, he deported more people, over 3.5 million people, than the 16 years of George W. Bush and Bill Clinton collectively. Okay? And even more so than even the first Trump administration from 2017 to 2021. But don't let the facts get in the way of a good argument, or at least the attempt at one, by Katie Brennan, Ravi Bala, and all the insufferable activists that stood in front of City Hall last week. As you can see there, again, they wasted no time in making sure that everyone was like, the typical cliche, catchphrases that we see from all these insufferable organizations, like the New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice, Make the Road New Jersey, whatever else, folks, take your pick. They were there out there, especially, folks, you have to love all the woke white people that, practice their Spanish for the first time in I don't know how many months with the si se puede, si se puede, si se puede. I mean, folks, it's insufferable. It really is. And again, I've used this example on this show, but it bears repeating. So for all the local clowns like Amy Torres, right, with the New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice, or Patty Campos Medina with the Latina Civic PAC, okay, or all of these other, all these ridiculous, insufferable feminists and unbearable cat ladies. We all know, folks, they stink of cat piss. I mean, I can smell it from here, okay? They would rather virtue signal and would rather scare the shit out of you that, oh my God, the Handmaid's Tale is coming and that women with master's degrees and driving in $70,000 Escalades and earning $90,000 are somehow going to be subjugated to the fate of the women in the Handmaid's Tale. Folks, it's nonsense. It's just nonsense. Stop it. Can you just stop it, please? You look embarrassing. But more so, the embarrassing display was on last week in downtown Jersey City. And some good coverage again was provided by Daniel Aloa from the Hudson County View there. And let's just sort of go over some details here. Or here's a doozy. I remember seeing them. The Hudson County Democratic Socialists of America, the COSECA NJ, the Latino Action Network, LAN, and 32 BJ SEIU held a pro-immigration, quote, anti-U.S. immigration and customs enforcement rally last week. Now, Isaac Jimenez of the Hudson County DSA, again, one of these, insufferable, virtue signalers that, would rather, bitch and moan than actually come up with real solutions, right? Served as the MC for the evening, and he explained that a man in the Heights was detained by ICE last week, which spurred the rally. You also know that there's a plan for a new privately owned ICE detention center in Newark, as I just made reference to. Now, Latino Action Network board member and also a member of the Bill O'Day campaign team, Corey Garriga, nice guy, by the way, actually a former student of mine some many, many years ago when I used to teach at St. Peter's University. Good young man, but value system seems to be a little misplaced lately. Quote, some have to face the fear of being ripped away from the only life they've known. Being undocumented is not a crime. It is a circumstance, a reality shaped by a broken immigration system. We've seen this before, folks, and this is the doozy here. Check out this woke bullshit. We've seen this before. Germany, 1933. They used mass deportations and vilified people to get their agenda across, and we are seeing it now. Targeting entire families, tearing families apart is a crime against justice and humanity and everything this country stands for. Garriga, again, as I mentioned, who's also an aide to Hudson County Commissioner Bill O'Day, criticized any local leaders who have been silent on the issue. He also claimed that as of earlier last month, 55% of the people detained did not have criminal records, despite ICE's claims to the contrary. No, they had orders to deport Corey. And for the rest of the idiots out there that were marching, well, not marching. I mean, you can't call 18 people standing in front of City Hall a march or a rally, but, be that as it may. Here's another wonderful quote here. Quote, instead of being able to focus on progress, here we are concerned about horrific abuse of power that is violating the Constitution. How exactly is it violating the Constitution? And again, this quote was made out by 32nd Legislative District Assembly candidate Katie Brennan. Now is the time to come together as a state. We need to show the Trump administration that it is not okay. Indiscriminate raids will not make us safe. I'm sorry, would you rather they send out like certified letters that they're coming in advance, Katie? Like, this is how stupid this woman is. And Ravi Bala as well. Like, what do you expect ICE to do? Like, send you emails ahead of time? Or, I don't know, a light flash that, hey, we'll be in the neighborhood at certain, at 1800 hours, make sure you clear the area so we can't find you. Like, these people are just dumb, folks. Like, they're just dumb. Like, it just makes you wonder how they ever got into elected office, or how they ever even are in charge of any nonprofit. But let me continue. It's just instilling fear in our communities and stripping our friends and neighbors of their dignity. She also said that Democrats in Washington are not taking the matter as seriously as they should be. These Democrats in office are responding as if this is another round of normal sparring. We are not witnessing politics as usual. It's an orchestrated assault on the very foundations of our democracy. What exactly is an assault on the foundation of our democracy? Making sure that we enforce our sovereignty? That we enforce our borders? Because, folks, mind you, Katie Brennan and Ravi Bala will be the first people to bitch and moan about, oh my God, we need to keep sending billions of dollars to corrupt regimes like Ukraine to make sure that we protect their borders, but not protect our own borders. This is how tone deaf these people are. And this is what makes Katie Brennan and Ravi Bala not fit for office. Let's be very honest about it, right? So, of course, here's another one here. The mayor of this town was invited and is not here. Of course, Jimenez made reference to Stephen Fulop, the current mayor of Jersey City and current gubernatorial candidate. But Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala, another 32nd Legislative District Assembly candidate is. Now, Bala said the first thing he did when he came into office was make Hoboken a sanctuary city, right? Back in 2018. Quote, nobody in the Hoboken Police Department can cooperate with federal authorities, including ICE, in any way, shape, or form. If you're arrested or detained, we cannot ask you about your immigration status. Folks, we've heard about all this, right? But this is what's interesting. You also know that there is legislation pending in Trenton to codify New Jersey as a sanctuary state to protect undocumented immigrants. It was first done as a directive from Governor Phil Murphy. We don't know who the next governor is going to be. She or he could simply repeal that directive. The Senate President, Nick Scutari, the second or third most powerful person in New Jersey, said, I don't know enough about the law. I haven't read it yet. Now, an activist from Coseka and Jay noted that there was an ICE raid in North Bergen this past week and claimed that there was, quote, a waiting room filled with people at the detention center in Elizabeth. Don't call me illegal, she screamed, because that's not what I am, the crowd yelled in Spanish. ICE and DHS didn't exist before 9/11. It was an agency that was supposed to fight terrorism, but it's causing terror in our communities. Again, DSA member and Ward B Council candidate Joe Brooks said to the crowd. Folks, again, it's hard to take the Democratic Socialists of America seriously. These are people that clearly never took an economics course and are very much against the strong foundation that is the nuclear family. But again, it's these virtue signals that would tell you that they know more than you do. Like many liberals and progressives, yes, their heart's in the right place, but as usual, their heads are up their asses. That's no surprise coming from this commentator here. That point out the obvious is what I do every week here. But folks, let's be very clear about the virtue signaling that continues during this political climate and during this ongoing debate. I'll give you the example I've given you before, but it bears repeating. I'm not only Cuban and Spaniard, I'm also Colombian. I enjoy visiting Colombia on a regular basis to visit my dad's family in various parts of Colombia. Now, should I decide to visit my father's homeland and not return on the flight home, and I decide to stay there, well, guess what? Maybe I'll have an epiphany and say, you know what? I'm going to decide to get a driver's license. I may decide to go get another graduate degree. I may decide to perhaps demand that, hey, if I can't afford housing, maybe I can apply for subsidized housing in Colombia. Well, folks, you know what that would require me to do? That would require me to be a Colombian citizen, and I am not one. My dad is. But of course, I can't use his passport. There's a stark difference between Fernando Uribe Sr. and Fernando Uribe Jr. But in Colombia, and like in many countries in Latin America, if I decide to do any of the aforementioned, guess what would happen? I will be told to leave because I'm not a citizen. I'm not eligible or entitled to any of the aforementioned rights that Colombian citizens have. But somehow, for virtue signalers like Katie Brennan, Ravi Bala, Isaac Jimenez, Joel Brooks, Amy Torres, and all the other insufferable woke fools and social justice clowns, somehow they missed that memo. Somehow, they have come to believe or convince themselves that they're right and you're wrong. Folks, there's a reason why the 45th president became the 47th president. There's a reason why Donald Trump didn't just fall back into the office. He was convincingly reelected into office, winning all the 7 swing states, winning the Electoral College decisively, and winning the popular vote decisively. In addition to helping Republicans keep the House, helping to flip the Senate, and also flip hundreds of counties in this country during the last election cycle. Democrats haven't learned a thing because blacks, Hispanics, college-educated women, young men ages 18 to 25, Asians, Middle Eastern people, you name it, folks, every demographic possible knew what a disaster the immigration policy was of the 46th president and knew that the 58th vice president could not become the 47th president. And that's what we got, folks. We got what we voted for. We want safer communities. We want to make sure we got rid of criminal illegals. That's the process now. That's what's happening. Now, again, because virtue signalers like Katie Brennan and Ravi Bala and Isaac Jimenez at some point in time bitched and moaned about, well, the Hudson County commissioners can't renew the ICE contract with Hudson County. Cool, no problem. Well, guess what? There's plenty of real estate in the Garden State to find a new jail. And that's what they've done. Now, again, folks, you don't have to like it, but I got what I voted for. Okay? I voted for this. I voted to make sure that the federal government is trying to protect us and make sure that they are enforcing federal immigration law. That they'll no longer be taking taxpayer dollars and subsidizing it into hotels for illegals across the river in New York or across this country. But again, Katie Brennan, Ravi Bala, Isaac Jimenez, they must have been asleep the day that they taught con law in law school. Because all it takes is a simple cracking open of the book or looking at the document and knowing what the federal government is responsible for. They're responsible for enforcing immigration law, among other laws. Whether or not Katie Brennan and Ravi Bala understand that, I don't know. But if there are two people that are not very fit for office, especially the state assembly, it's Katie Brennan and Ravi Bala. You can tell them I said that. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. Now some local news for your consideration. And folks, what a change of the times. I got to tell you, to see that there were no arrests during this year's edition of Leprechaun, the Hoboken St. Patrick's Day Festival, was quite the change for me. And a special thank you to John R. Highness, a fellow Rutgers alumnus, a member of the Pinnacle of Hudson County, and the editor of the Hudson County View for his reporting on this story. Hoboken officials were delighted to inform the public that there were no arrests for the first time ever during the Hoboken Leprechaun. There were only 49 calls to service for the Hoboken Police Department. And according to Mayor Ravi Bala, quote, over the past several years, my administration has worked diligently to discourage disrespectful participation in Leprechaun, which has historically disrupted our residents' quality of life and drained city resources with overtime costs and sanitation expenses, not to mention hospitalizations and arrests. Thanks to these efforts and the cooperation of our community, I'm pleased to share this year's event resulted in 0 arrests and minimal calls for service. I want to extend my sincerest gratitude to the Hoboken Police Department, the Fire Department, and EMS for their hard work throughout the weekend, and I thank them in advance for their diligence in the weekends as we approach St. Patrick's Day. Now, between Saturday at 12 noon to 4 a.m. on Sunday morning, there were only 49 calls for service, including 5 special complaints, 3 for public urination, 1 for open containers, and 1 for disorderly conduct, according to city spokeswoman Marilyn Bear. There were also 16 motor vehicle summonses issued for ambulance calls and 0 occupancy violations issued by the fire department. Last year, the St. Patrick's Day themed bar crawl resulted in only 5 arrests, up from just 2 in 2023. Well, folks, I can just tell you from someone that used to go to leprechauns for many, many years, and I've gone to some really raunchy ones, and ones that, listen, if you couldn't hook up during Hoboken St. Patty's Day, you were a special level of inept. But that wasn't the case here and for many, many others throughout the years. And I got to tell you, throughout the 2010s, and of course, as soon as we hit the 2020s, it all went to shit. Hasn't been the same since COVID, folks. And I'm hoping that, listen, I'm not asking for brawls or riots. I'm asking for, a tsunami of public urination. I'm not even asking for arrests. But folks, the occasion has been considerably subdued since we got back to normal from the pandemic. But I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, some great memories from the 2000s and the 2010s when it came to the Hoboken St. Patrick's Day Festival, otherwise known as Leprechaun. Gotta tell you, the ladies were out, a lot of liquor going around, and let's just say it used to be some really fun times during Leprechaun. Hey, that's what memories are for, and it's always good to look back on them. Well, it's official. Councilman Yusuf Saleh will join incumbent Assemblywoman Jessica Ramirez and make up Stephen Phillips' ticket in the 32nd Legislative District. A special thank you to Aaron Morrill, the editor of the Jersey Times, and by the way, my fellow co-host for Talking Jersey City, which you can catch on Facebook Live via streaming and also on YouTube. New episodes are quickly approaching. Now, Ward D Councilman Yusuf Saleh announced his candidacy for a state assembly seat along with Jessica Ramirez. Now, Saleh's decision followed months of political maneuvering after he was left off of every single ticket, which included Mr. Solomon, Mr. O'Day, Mr. Uribe, and Mr. Ali. Folks, I got to tell you, even Ms. Waterman's ticket was not interested in Yusuf Saleh. Now, he reportedly declined offers that came with conditions he was unwilling to accept, and Jim McGreevey, James Solomon, and Bill O'Day ultimately recruited other candidates to run for the Ward D council seat. While Saleh could have pursued re-election as an independent, he opted instead to seek a state-level position. Now, if elected, Saleh says he plans to advocate for new laws surrounding pedestrian safety through speed cameras, bail reform, and school funding. He also emphasized banning fake job postings and expanding hybrid work policies for large employers as key priorities. He pointed to his experience in local government, highlighting his pay transparency as an example of legislation that expanded from the municipal level to the state level. Now, the race for the 32nd Legislative District might be one of the most competitive in recent memory. Selene Ramirez will face opposition from Hoboken Public Library Director Jenny Pugh and Jersey Director of Buildings and Street Maintenance Christopher Fonseca, who coincidentally are backed by the establishment Democrats. Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala and activist Katie Brennan have also entered the race as independents, though Brennan recently explored the possibility of running alongside Bala, which that announcement could come any day now. Now, Saleh was appointed to the Jersey City Council in April of 2020 following the death of Councilman Michael Yoon from COVID-19. He later won a special election that November and was reelected in 2021 on Mayor Philip's slate. Now, the June 10th primary for the Democrat Party will determine whether Saleh moves on to the general election. Now, if unsuccessful, he still has the option to run for re-election in Ward D, since that election will not be until November later on this year. So, folks, a lot of moving parts here in the ongoing civil war for the Democrat Party here in Hudson County. As we all know, Stephen Phillip is running for governor without the backing of the Hudson County Democratic Organization, which again is led by the county executive and current chair, Craig Guy, and also Union City Mayor and State Senator Brian Stack. Of course, there's no love lost there between these three individuals, and certainly it has created quite the very volatile climate. As we all know, Brian Stack will be leading an assembly ticket of the current incumbent, Gabriel Rodriguez, and Larry Weinstein in the 33rd Legislative District against real estate moguls Tony Hector and Frank Alonso. Now, it remains to be seen whether or not Hector and Alonso, with the backing of North Bergen Mayor Nick Sacco, can make any dent into the numbers that we all know Brian Stack will have in West New York, Weehawken, and Union City. Folks, even in the 31st Legislative District, it's getting a little fickle. So it's something to watch out for as the June 10th primary is quickly approaching. I got to tell you, it's just heating up here in Hudson County. We'll see some ads. We'll probably see some banter on social media. And I'm sure we'll see some public addresses in the near future. So buckle up, folks. This civil war is just getting started. Shout out to HUDPost and its editor, James De Los Santos, for his reporting on this story. Now, Hudson County Community College has been named only one of 21 colleges nationwide to receive the 2025 Inspiring Programs in Business Award from the Insight into Diversity magazine. Now, the award recognizes institutions that provide strong support systems for underrepresented students pursuing business-related fields. According to HECC President Chris Uribe, quote, "We are honored to receive this recognition from Insight into Diversity. Hudson County Community College provides inclusive, high-quality educational programs that increase student access and economic mobility." Now, the award was presented to Hudson County Community College's Business Administration program, part of the School of Business, Culinary Arts, and Hospitality Management. The program's Business Education Supplemental Training, which is otherwise known as BEST, has an initiative that connects students with industry professionals in finance, marketing, and career readiness. Participants have engaged in investment challenges, mentorships, Wall Street tours, and case study competitions. According to Dr. Peter Conrath, one of the faculty members behind the initiative, he said, HCCC's BEST program provides students with real-world experiences that help them stand out in the workforce. By working directly with industry leaders, our students gain valuable skills and confidence. Now, the Insight into Diversity Inspiring Programs and Business Award recognizes institutions with long-term commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion in business education. Folks, I just got to tell you, as someone that has taught at Hudson County Community College in the past and has interviewed President Christopher Uribe on Real Talk via Jersey First TV, folks, which you can catch on Monday nights via Jersey First TV. Of course, check it out on Facebook Live via streaming, also on the YouTube page. I got to tell you, there's no more deserving of a local institution than Hudson County Community College. Christopher Uribe continues to lead the way, folks, with his leadership, his initiative, and most importantly, his warmth and compassion that he has for his students. There's no question he's committed to the student body, and he's committed to the faculty and administrators that make up the wonderful institution that is known as Hudson County Community College. So kudos to them, folks, on just yet another award under the leadership of its president, Christopher Uribe, the Board of Trustees, and of course, all the great administration that's associated with Hudson County Community College. Well done, everybody. You continue to make us proud here in Hudson County. Let's move down to Jersey City. And folks, a special thank you to Al Sullivan, lead columnist at Tap Into Jersey City, for his reporting on this story. Now, the Hudson County Pride Sale will hold a wine tasting fundraiser later this week, coming up on Friday, March the 6th. The Pouring with Pride event will feature Erica Ducey, an award-winning wine and spirits editor and strategist, which will run from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. and will support Hudson Pride's efforts to sustain its growth and its services. Now, tickets will only be $100 per person, and they can be purchased, obviously, by visiting the Hudson Pride Center website. Now, located at 201 Montgomery Street in downtown Jersey City on the second floor, of course, with another location at 229th Street on the second floor as well in Jersey City, and company offers upscale co-working spaces at reasonable prices. Folks, I got to tell you, the Hudson Pride is a great local center helping members of the LGBTQ community here in Hudson County. Obviously, they just opened a new office in Union City. So a shout out to them for this great event coming up. And folks, again, if you love wine and you love learning about wine and spirits, take advantage coming up this Friday. It should be a good event to catch in Jersey City. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, we're only 6 weeks away from the 2025 edition of Memories Matter to benefit Alzheimer's New Jersey. It's my privilege to bring you this event once again with my outstanding co-host this year, Lucy Costa, Vladimir Carrero, Jacqueline Rodriguez, and of course, Carmen Kenny. And folks, I got to tell you, we are delighted to welcome everybody coming up on Thursday night, April the 17th, to the world famous Waterside, which is located right on the waterfront in North Bergen. Of course, you can simply do a search on Google for Memories Matter 2025, or of course, check out my social media for more information. We're asking for a modest donation of $20 at the door. Make sure you bring some cash, folks. We'll have some great raffles as well as drink specials all evening long. I'm proud to partner with Alzheimer's New Jersey. And of course, we're doing our part to help families all across the Garden State as they're being stricken with this dreaded disease. I got to tell you, folks, whether it is Kenneth Zanes, Elaine Winter, all the great people at the executive board that make up Alzheimer's New Jersey, they're working hard to help families each and every day. So mark on your calendars, folks, and you can check out the flyer right there. Also scan the QR code for more information or if you wish to donate online. But once again, we'll see you Thursday night, April the 17th, starting at 7 p.m. and we'll be there until closing, folks. It is Easter weekend, so there's no work on Good Friday. Make sure you mark it on your calendars and stay out all night to do your part to help Alzheimer's New Jersey. And together, we can defeat Alzheimer's once and for all. And that's our show for this week. Once again, to check out all the excellent programming brought to you by the Hudson Media Group, the leader in independent media here in Hudson County, please visit their YouTube page as well as check them out on Facebook. Don't forget to follow them on Instagram and X. And folks, I can't say enough about how privileged I am to be here each and every week, again, under the supervision and oversight of Patrick O'Malia, our CEO and executive producer. I'm so grateful to him for his belief in my brand of media that, again, has been coming to you here since April of 2019. So we'll be quickly approaching the 6-year anniversary here with the Hudson Media Group. Of course, folks, you can check out all my social media handles there, as you can see. Of course, make sure that you like Talking Politics with Fernando Uribe on Facebook, of course. Follow it on Instagram and X. Always remember, ladies and gentlemen, if it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it's always Talking Politics right here with the Hudson Media Group. Don't forget, set your clocks forward this weekend, folks. And yes, we might lose an hour of sleep, but the days will be a little sunnier and they'll be a little bit longer. That's always a good thing. That's right, folks. I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, the generational talent in Garden State media, and of course, I'll continue to be the voice of reason here in Hudson County. I'm Fernando Uribe, folks. We'll see you next weekend here with the Hudson Media Group. Thanks for stopping by, and always remember, stay classy, everyone.